2025 is shaping up to be an interesting year for a variety of reasons, but one in particular I'd like to focus on today is what appears to be a full planetary alignment for Nintendo in the launch of the Switch 2. Firstly, we have Sony announcing the cancellation and reallocation of resources away from failed live service projects. In addition to that, Microsoft has made their new strategy shift over the past year abundantly clear in terms of moving toward publishing, as opposed to the historical focus on walled garden ecosystems and hardware. Combine this with the launch of a new and, perhaps, powerful enough Switch 2 and we could see what equates to a perfect storm for Nintendo. Let's dive deeper into this emerging scenario. By the end, I believe you might agree with me that 2025 could be the beginning of a new golden age for Nintendo. Let me preface this by saying that much of this is speculative until we get more facts, but I think it's both an interesting development and possible, so let's carry on. Nintendo has been riding high on the success of the Nintendo Switch, which has become the best-selling console of all time, surpassing even Sony's PlayStation 2. This phenomenal achievement has solidified Nintendo's position as a dominant player in the modern gaming industry, despite years of media, and even Nintendo themselves to some degree, explaining Nintendo as somewhat of a separate market that isn't in direct competition with Sony and Microsoft. Meanwhile, the competitive landscape with Sony and Microsoft has been undergoing significant shifts, creating fertile ground for Nintendo to thrive. For the previous two generations, Sony has developed a strong and deserved reputation for single-player, narrative-driven titles. However, that output has dropped significantly in recent times as Sony shifted resources, including developers of coveted single-player titles, toward live service games in effort to achieve the success of major titles in that sector. Unfortunately, in recent news, Sony has canceled at least 8 of these live service titles that were in development after large-scale flops of titles like Concord. As a result of this strategy, Sony has only succeeded in tying up their single-player developers and squandered valuable development resources. Due to this, Sony's output for 2025 is expected to be lower than usual, possibly beyond even 2025. Taking a quick look at upcoming first-party titles or temporary exclusives, it doesn't look good. Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotai, Marathon, Intergalactic, and Venom are all potential titles for this year, but have no confirmed release dates as of yet. Recently, for example, Insomniac was asked about the Wolverine title and the chances of release in 2025, but co-head of the studio, Chad Dazern, remained stoic on the matter, suggesting patience must be had. It's likely that Wolverine will not launch this year, and it is possible that single-player resources which could have helped were diverted to now cancelled live service projects. This leaves very little for Sony to come to market with in 2025. As of now, just a handful of titles are expected in-house from Sony this year. This creates a window of opportunity for Nintendo to capture the attention of gamers experiencing that drought. While Sony faces these challenges, Microsoft has been on a spending spree for years, placing them in an interesting position of acquiring numerous studios and becoming the largest publisher in the world due to these aforementioned acquisitions. Interestingly, Microsoft seems to be moving away from a hardware-centric, walled garden ecosystem approach. Even if they release another Xbox machine, Xbox-published games are confirmed to be coming to PlayStation and Nintendo consoles, going as far as to say the Nintendo Switch 2 is an Xbox. This strategic shift will be the final nail in the coffin for exclusivity of Microsoft's titles, effectively removing another player from the field for Nintendo, at least in this context. What's even more interesting about this situation, especially after seeing the latest Microsoft Direct on January 23rd of 2025, is that it will be Microsoft coming in to save the day this year for PlayStation, with various fantastic-looking games headed to PlayStation this year, courtesy of the world's now largest publisher. That said, Nintendo is set to release new hardware in 2025, rumored to feature advanced AI scaling technology. This addition will allow the new console to benefit from the current generation's trend of releasing cross-generational titles, which has persisted for years into the launch of the Series X and PlayStation 5 systems. The new Switch 2 is likely to be compatible with many of the current generation bestsellers, possibly offering enhanced performance and graphical fidelity in some cases. This could significantly boost appeal to both developers and gamers. It is exceedingly likely that ports of popular titles like the Resident Evil remakes, recent Assassin's Creed titles, Cyberpunk, Elden Ring, Death Stranding, the new Gears of War, Sea of Thieves, Halo, Forza, the Final Fantasy VII Remake series, and much more will arrive on the Nintendo Switch 2. Whether it's powerful enough to maintain this momentum and continue to attract games developed exclusively for next-gen consoles is another question, but one we'll find out in time. Beyond what third-party publishers are cooking, Nintendo themselves may have their own slew of software lined up. Metroid Prime 4 has been consistently delayed, leaving the possibility of it becoming a launch title, or in the launch window for the Switch 2. The little we've seen of the hardware reveal seems to show a new Mario Kart title. This year is also the 40th anniversary of Super Mario Bros. In addition to having been nearly 8 years since the release of Odyssey, a new 3D Mario is absolutely a possibility this year. While I think any new 3D Zelda is unlikely, it's possible Nintendo will release additional ports or remasters of older titles that have yet to see a recent release, including some from the Legend of Zelda series, such as Twilight Princess or The Wind Waker. Given the Nintendo Switch's status as the best-selling console of all time, it is expected that many publishers will be eager to put their software on the Switch too. This could result in a strong lineup of third-party titles for the new hardware right out of the gate, further solidifying Nintendo's potential dominance. The combination of the potential for a vast install base, AI upscaling technology to reduce the burden on physical hardware, and a large library of games positions Nintendo for a potentially golden year in 2025. As we look ahead to the remainder of 2025, the stars indeed seem to be aligning for Nintendo. With Sony's reduced output due to the live service misadventure, Microsoft's strategic shift to what seems to be third-party, and the release of new hardware, Nintendo is poised to potentially take full advantage of these industry realities. The Switch 2's potential to play current, cross-generation software and its appeal to third-party publishers could make this a landmark year for the company. Only time will tell, but in light of these things, it's certainly possible. Again though, much of this is speculation, but as the year unfolds, we'll have a better understanding. That's it. Those are my thoughts and speculation on the matter, but we'll see what happens going forward this year. Regardless of how things pan out, I think the year 2025 bodes well for all video game lovers due to the sheer amount of excellent titles that appear to be on the horizon. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to drop a like, as that helps my channel to grow and become more pervasive. Please be sure to also leave a comment below with your thoughts as to whether or not you agree or disagree with my assessment. And, as always, subscribing to the channel and sharing the video are the most powerful ways to tell me you enjoyed it. Take note that I typically do not cover current industry news and mostly focus on retro titles with some modern games sprinkled in as well, though on occasion I make videos such as these when I am motivated to do so. Please be sure to check out my channel as you may find something of interest there, such as my Asheron's Call lore series, AC Lore, or the various short essays I've published. Until next time.